Hi, this lesson is about the Irregular Preterite Part 1. Hola, esta lección es sobre el pretérito indefinido irregular, parte 1. Hi, welcome to Spanish for London. I am Laura, and today we will start studying the preterite. This is part 1 out of 3. Good. This topic is a hard bone to chew, because most of the time it is explained in a very confused manner. So as a result, you feel that it's something cryptic, and the only thing that you can do is to study the forms by heart. If you try to understand and you ask your teachers, some of them at school will say, well, it is what it is. Remember, when a person says that, is unfortunately because this person doesn't know the answer. But in linguistics, everything has a reason. Another great problem is that at school, they teach you a tense and they immediately rush to the next tense. The teachers squeeze the contents for two reasons. First, because they are obliged to teach you a great number of topics in only 1 year. Secondly, because some of them are not able to give you a thorough explanation. So as a result, they put the pressure on you, the students, saying, revise, study the list, memorize. You know this stuff. In this way, you will speak bad Spanish. So take a deep breath and take your time. And if you need emotional support, here it is. This is the most irregular tense in the Spanish verbal system. But after this tense, the rest of the system will be almost regular, except from some cases, but not too many and not too difficult. I prepared this class in 3 videos, but this is only to make them shorter. The 3 videos are the same lesson, so study them as a whole. Now again, take a deep breath, smile, and let's start. Let's go. Irregular preterite, part 1. So remember, this is part 1 out of 3. This is only 1 lesson, and you have all the activities, all the extra material for every one of the videos in your course, and I will teach you the form, so you will see all the patterns, all the irregularities in this tense. Let's start with the monosyllabic verbs. So verbs which are very brief and they have only 1 syllable, which are ser, ir, dar, ver. Remember, ser is one of the verbs for to be. Ir, to go, dar, to give, ver, to see. First thing, ser and ir in this tense are exactly the same. Why? Well, I explained this in another lesson. The verb ir is a very, very irregular verb because technically it's only an ending. Do you remember that the endings for verbs in Spanish are ar, ir? So every single verb has an ending, and this will be ar, or ir. But then they have more letters, but ir doesn't have any extra letter here. That's why it's absolutely irregular, and it borrows forms from other verbs. So in this particular tense, ir borrows forms from ser. That's why they are exactly the same. So yo fui means I was, but also I went. It depends on the context. Look, I was a good student. Fui una buena estudiante. This is the verb to be. But I went to Paris. Fui a París. This is the verb to go. But in both cases, we say fui. So the tip for you when studying ser and ir in the preterite will be fui, fui. Okay, I was, I went. Yes, same form. So the forms are fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis, fueron. Now listen, in my experience, one of the most common mistakes committed by you, English or British students, is to mix up fui and fue. So remember, fui is yo fui, and fue is él o ella fue. So, I was or I went, yo fui. He or she was or went, él fue, ella fue. Let's continue now with dar, to give, and ver, to see. Well, these two verbs are not exactly the same, but the only difference is the first letter. Do you see? Di, diste, dio, dimos, disteis, dieron, for the verb dar, and vi, viste, vio, vimos, visteis, vieron, for the verb ver. So you have to remember vidi. Vidi means I saw the film yesterday. Vi la película ayer. Or di, I gave. I gave the homework to my students. Les di la tarea o los deberes a mis estudiantes. So, I saw Mary and I gave her a kiss. Vi a María y le di un beso. So, everything is more compelling, more interesting, and easier to remember when it affects your personal life. So change Mary and put your favorite name here, and you will remember BD for sure. Okay, so I gave, di, I saw, vi, and the whole forms di, diste, dio, dimos, disteis, dieron, for dar, to give, vi, viste, vio, vimos, visteis, vieron, for ver, to see. Okay, second group, fake irregulars. These verbs are very easy, very easy. This is another pattern because actually they are regular except for the form yo, which is slightly irregular but only due to the pronunciation. That's why we say that they are not really irregular verbs. They are fake irregulars. And these are verbs ending with car, with a C, gar, with a G, and sar, with a Z. Let's see. If you have a verb ending in car, like tocar, you change here the form for yo, and instead of writing a C, you write QU. But why? This is because if I write C here, I have to say tose. But then I say tocaste, tocó, tocamos, tocasteis, tocaron. So as a result, I have two different pronunciations. So, but we don't speak in this way. We say toqué, we don't say tosé. But if I want to write toqué in Spanish, I have to do it in this way. That's why this is not a real irregularity, it's only due to the pronunciation. Exactly the same happens with verbs ending with gar, like llegar. If I write this form for yo without the U, I have to say llegué. Llegué, but then I say llegaste, llegó, llegamos, llegaste, llegaron. So to avoid this inconsistency in the pronunciation, I add a U and now I say llegué, llegaste, llegó, llegamos, llegaste, llegaron. And finally, for verbs ending with sar, with a Z, well, it's the same and we change for C in the first person. In this particular case, you don't hear the difference. So, empecé, empezaste, empezó, empezamos, empezasteis, empezaron. But in the evolution of the language, the pronunciation was different. That's why we change here. So, remember, in this group of verbs ending with car, gar, or sar, the only regular form is yo. The rest of the forms are completely regular. And this affects not only these three verbs, but also all the verbs ending with car, gar, or sar. Okay? In my examples, I put here tocar, which is to touch or to play an instrument, llegar, to arrive, and empezar, to start or to begin. More fake irregulars, but another pattern. Let's see what happens when the root of the verb or the stem ends with a vowel, la raíz terminada en vocal. This is very easy. Look, every pattern is easy to understand. You will feel probably you are feeling this right now. Okay, I won't be able to remember all these forms. This is a very long thing, too many forms. How can I do to remember this? Take a deep breath and remember, you will be studying this with me step by step. Now it's time to understand the patterns, not to remember them. Then I will provide you exercises, group by group, verb by verb. And at the end of this journey, which will take you the whole lesson, which is a long lesson, by the way, you will be able to speak perfectly using your preterite. Remember that I have experience and I do this all the time with all my students and they use the preterite perfectly. Okay, now, when you have a verb like leer, to read, or caer, to fall, look at this. You have the ending, er, and in the root of the verb, the last letter before the ending is a vowel. And the same happens here in caer. You have the vowel and then you have the ending. As a result, when I conjugate the verb, I say, for example, I read the book. Leí el libro. Yo leí, tú leíste. And here, I should say leíó, leíó. But it's faster to say leyó. Do you see? Leíó takes more time than leyó. So that's why we change for Y. It's only to say it faster. And the same happens here with leyeron. So here, leí, leíste, leyó, leímos, leísteis, leyeron. Same here. Caí, caíste, cayó, caímos, caísteis, cayeron. So basically, when you conjugate one of these verbs, and here, in the forms for él, ella, and in the forms for ellos, ellas, usted, ustedes also, instead of three vowels, e, I, o, you change the I for Y. And in this way, you can speak faster. So you avoid saying three vowels in a row. You only have two, and in the middle, you fill in the gap with a consonant, not with the I. Okay, so leí, leíste, leyó, leímos, leísteis, leyeron, caí, caíste, cayó, caímos, caísteis, cayeron. And this affects all the verbs with this form. For example, construir, to build. Okay, construí, construiste, construyó, construimos, construisteis, construyeron. And by the way, when you have one of these verbs with this irregularity, in the gerund, which is the ing form, you have the same thing. So, I am reading the book, estoy leyendo el libro. Why? Because instead of saying leyendo with three vowels, I can say it faster. And that's the end of part one. As you can see, it's not so terrible. Of course, you don't remember now all the forms. This is absolutely perfect. This is absolutely natural. The only thing that you need to do at this very moment is to understand the irregularities. This is absolutely critical, because if you understand the reasons behind the behavior of the language, you will be speaking very good Spanish or French or Japanese or any language. You have to understand, not to memorize. If you memorize in a chaotic way, this doesn't work. Ok, see you in part 2. Nos vemos en la parte 2 de esta clase. Adiós, hasta la próxima.